All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Spy Family, Season 1, Episode 1.
I have waited quite a bit for this day. Because even before the anime was a thing, right? People were telling me about the manga, and I was like, maybe that would be a good one to read after Komi or something. But then I heard there was an anime that was going to be coming out, and I was like,
well,
okay,
I have to wait now.
Gotta wait. Gotta wait. It's going to be too good. And now we're finally here.
We're finally here.
Oh,
this
boy.
is an anime adaptation that Jacob and I have kind of heard, like you said, tales of in the background.
It's taken the internet by
wait.
storm.
We couldn't wait. Usually we wait until a season is completed before we go and do reactions of it. But for this one, no, we had a really good vibe. I mean, a really good vibe.
Yep.
So the community in general seems to agree. But it's time for us to get into this. It is a story about a spy family.
Right.
There are
a few different ways that
amazing.
could go. It could be they're an actual family who happen to be spies, or a bunch of spies that pretend to be a family as their cover, and then maybe it could turn into an actual family or something like that. But the point is, I have been wanting this kind of setup in an anime, not the spy part, but the family part, for a long time. Where
they have some other life that they all are a part of.
Right, but to actually get into a dynamic of oh hey, a married couple as part of the core cast of main characters, right?
Yeah.
And then anytime there is an adorable child that is along for the ride, I am just yes, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean we're really excited. We're
just a bit.
We're prone to this kind of thing. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below. Then come back here for the discussion. I can't stop smiling.
This was wonderful.
This felt so warm and fuzzy.
So
and it was so cool too.
Let's go through the checklist of all the things that we loved the show decided to do, right?
We
and the way that it did it.
One character to start here.
Right.
We very much have an upcoming trio here.
Yep.
But for now, we have Twilight. We don't even know his name.
Nope.
He is a super spy.
Yeah.
And
So
okay.
Extremely
competent.
Extremely competent. Hyper competent, right? Rule of cool, all that stuff.
Cold
right?
as ice.
Yep. That introduction was wonderful. The fact that he convinces the guy to do the handoff when he has the mask on, when the actual person he's disguising is 20 feet away. Love it. It's just yes, it's just snappy and to the point. We've got your classic, Mission Impossible spy masks, and
it's
cool.
being used even in ways directly from movies. It's so cheesy. I love it.
Yep, absolutely wonderful.
Yep.
But we don't even really go into his character too much. It's more of his role, right? And then Anya is the one that we get to know more as a person, and then by proximity, we start to get to know him. And I love that.
She literally has a viewpoint into his head, which means we don't have to have the first-person perspective of how he's thinking. It's literally her perspective on everything. Well, the world literally revolves around her.
There's a few reasons why I love this. One, taking more time to get to know Twilight makes sense because he's a spy. He is trained in he's secretive, and his past identity and who he really is constantly hidden.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Right.
2, daughter being a telepath. This simplifies a lot of potential very complicated issues when you have someone who is a parent that doesn't know how to be a parent, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time stories I've seen will have something where the child basically is still, it won't be telepathy, but it'll be basically because they're watching their parents so intently, right? Or whoever is the parental figure. They're absorbing way more than the parent is aware of. And the thing is that is a real thing. So the telepathy is kind of a nice
extreme version of that
to give it some fantastical flair, right?
Right.
Cool.
And also so that she can then see the duality within him as he puts up a front to be the spy.
Exactly.
He also is still just a guy,
Right.
He's still just a guy.
Because one of the other potential problems with having a duo of main characters, since the mom isn't introduced yet, that where one of them is a child, is how do you make them actually have interactions? How do you
Right.
make it not just be two characters on their own that do their thing?
Yep.
And
Yep.
a lot of the times I would think stories would do this with like having a stoic like parent figure, right? And then that way it's sort of like, you infer a lot of what the person's thinking. But in this case, because Anya is a telepath, you don't
Yeah.
have to infer that, right? You don't have to have the person who just like, oh, what does that grunt mean or whatever, right? You can just be like, this is what he's thinking, this is what he's saying, this is
Yeah.
how she responds to it. It's wonderful. I love it. And then we have spy stuff, and he already is needing to juggle the balance between being a dad and being a spy.
In the first like 10 minutes, we're already basically at that point where it's like, oh, okay,
Yep.
being a dad. Oh shit, okay,
Right.
study. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I love how quickly we basically got to the point of where he's like, I have no idea how to do this. Is there an instruction manual for
Right.
it?
Like-
okay, cool. And then he goes through that. That's great and all. Still doesn't stop him from the aspect that there's these cultural, societal norms that he's not used to. Of you should hold her hand, and he's like, oh okay, hold
Right.
her hand. He's like,
How will
but
I
then
defend against an attack?
ambush? And she's
Right.
like, an ambush? Where?
and again, something where she gets scared because he is worried and stuff.
Right.
That's
That's another aspect of real
Yeah.
parenthood stuff. It's like a pet, basically.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. They can tell what emotions you're feeling, and the emotions worry them a lot more than the
What you
words or
say.
anything you do,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So that's wonderful, but it's also a way to make it be a forcing function where, because he doesn't know that she's a telepath,
Nope.
right?
He might never find out.
He might never find out, but the thing is that he will see how she responds to what he's doing.
Yes.
And he will end up needing to genuinely
accordingly.
care about her as a father
Yep.
in order to have this whole dynamic work.
Yes.
And oh my God, I love that.
I'm so excited for that. This is basically where all the comedy can come from.
Yep.
And then, however, we have the mother fit into this, because like we're very much aware of like the cover of this show,
Right.
where it shows
Yes.
the three of them, and it's like, okay, so
Yep.
so
Yeah, you can get a
what are we
child
gonna do there
at an orphanage and just be like, all right, you're my kid now,
Right,
right?
but getting someone to like pose as your wife or what have
Right.
you, or the mother of your not child, like
Yeah,
that's
like-
gonna be really hard.
Like that's the kind of thing where I would the two different kinds of things I would I would expect it to be someone who already is a spy at some
Yes.
other organization, and then either it's
or just someone from the same organization,
right, and then
that
it's either
just-
you'll be working together, right, and then that can be great fun, or it's the from another organization, and then it's the enemies to lovers, but like really quick, and then it's,
right.
and that I am a huge fan of, but then
because
also
we did see him in a relationship. But one of the things with which he used as the breakup point is probably something that is a legitimate reason as to why
Sure.
he would break up with someone of, I don't sense any intelligence in your conversations, which I will say personally was an immediate setup for me of, whoever he ends up basically working together with or setting this whole thing up together as his wife or what have
Right.
you is going to be intelligent.
Well,
and
and
at very least
we even
going to
have
be-
that as a thing with the daughter, right? Where it's like, she's just brilliant, apparently,
Yeah.
right? Like the fact that she couldn't read the minds, or reading the minds of the kids in the class, wasn't helpful, right? Because
Right,
they
right.
didn't know, because it's like there's 10,000 kids that take this test or whatever, and only
Yeah.
however many get in.
Right.
Well, she still passed.
Right.
So she's actually brilliant, which makes sense.
Well, I want to bring up something here.
Oh, yeah?
The subtitles are wrong. She was saying Esper whenever it said telepath.
Mm-hmm.
Esper means extrasensory perception. It does not mean literally just reading minds.
Right, so just
she has
psychic
abilities with
and right
her
now
mind.
and right now it's reading minds, but
Right, but it
theoretically,
could be a whole bunch of things.
Yep,
I just wanted to
totally.
bring that up as like she's clearly a psychic, which means eventually she could be doing a lot more than reading minds, given that she's also a
Potentially.
government experiment
right.
that's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, which is great, because then it's the since Twilight was already what ended up making the comparisons between her and himself of she reminds me of me way back when.
Yeah.
There's some fun parallels
Sure.
between him and Anya, because oh, a government experiment, a tool, basically, right? You know, a
Well, what
child.
did you end up becoming?
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. A child who didn't have anybody, and then suddenly they craft you like into whatever they want. Like when he got the message in the newspaper or whatever it was, and they were like, "I know you don't necessarily like the idea. This mission might be different for you, but you know, because for the good of everyone everywhere, right? You must do these things." And it's like, oh, yeah, that's just a nice little bit of the drip feed of some, you know, I don't know, things that will make him believe in the cause, right?
Yeah. Did you notice the really silly on the nose foreshadowing of where she misinterprets his thoughts as understanding me will bring about world peace? And I literally thought about that for like half a second. I was like, oh my God, that's the most hilarious bit of comedy foreshadowing. Basically saying that the way this story will go is that world peace will be established
Because family.
right, and how they understand Anya.
Right.
There it is.
See,
that's the
her,
show.
her dirt faces and you know, and all that. It's if that is what needs to be protected and understood. You know.
Head pats.
Yep. Head pats. There you
And
go.
peanuts.
Right. That's right. And maybe a silenced pistol. Well. Okay.
We'll get to that eventually.
Yeah. I get the feeling that he actually would potentially be like, oh yeah, she's old enough to learn spy stuff. She's already doing this.
Right.
She needs to have something for her protection. You know.
It's like, obviously I would get her a pistol with a silencer. A regular pistol would blow out her eardrums. So,
right. Yeah. Exactly.
He's like, I'm going to teach you gun safety. And she's like, oh, okay. He's like, wow, Papa's really not scared of guns. Oh,
If you
okay.
and then oh man, oh this could be great too. One of the things with parents is that they all the time will worry about their kids, right? If she's reading his mind and is imagining all the things that he's imagining, because he's like, if she holds her thumb over the back of the gun, her thumb will get sliced when the slide gets kicked back. You know, it's like she'll be like, oh, don't do that. Okay, yeah, you know, like there are just so many ways this dynamic can bring about all kinds of ridiculous.
You know what
fun.
anime we've seen before that this reminds me very much of, right? Hinamatsuri.
Yes.
This is very, very, very similar to Hinamatsuri.
Yep.
Like, I love the fact that she's a psychic, because not only is her, telepathic ability basically something that could evolve into something more later.
Sure.
But it's basically she is actually the smartest one in this whole, like, dynamic. And there's going to be a point where he's going to be like, shit, I need to do this. And then she's like, Papa, this way is better, or something. Like, she's gonna like save his life or do something like that.
And it might be something that is because of her telepathy, but you won't necessarily know that.
You won't know that.
So he'll be like, wow, she's brilliant. And the thing is that with all the training that he's had, and with the fact that she's a child, so she learns very quickly.
Right.
But two, she's a telepath. She will learn just about everything you could teach her.
Every single thing.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, especially if she can actually absorb it and remember it, because that's going to be like a huge deal. And that's why I was going to say she has already shown some aspect of another ability that's not telepathy, because of the silhouetted hand coming in. That seems to me like a version of whatever he seems to be able to do, which is he just taps and he's like, okay, mental, critical thinking, like think really hard.
Well, yeah. So this is one of the things that I've wanted to see explored more, with the idea of telepathy / like thought consciousness transferring and stuff like that. If you could read someone's mind, what are you actually getting as far as information? Are you hearing the words of what they consciously think, or does it also impart the understanding of the thoughts? Because usually it's not just words that you're thinking in, right? Like there will be all these memories and associated feelings and things like that. And theoretically, if she's getting that as well,
she's learning really quickly.
She's learning incredibly quickly, and she could also be basically getting an imprint of his consciousness almost that she is becoming familiar with. Yeah. And then it would it feels not far off.
It's almost like he'd be raising her at that point.
yeah, exactly, right? You know, so and then you could even get a point where like he's like having a like a tough day or something like that, and then he almost like lies down on the couch and she's like, Papa, you know, so how does that make you feel, right? Like,
or like lies down, and is like, Papa, don't do that. You could die potentially if you relax. And he's like, oh, that's right. And he's like, let's make food together. And she's like, yeah, that'll make us nice and strong and build our energy up. And he's like, right. And he's like, oh, I could really go for like this. And she's like, do you want me to go to the store and grab this? And he's like, yes.
You know me so well.
Yeah, thank you. And then he's like, oh, wait, no, I must keep her nearby for protection. But wait, no, she's a genius. She can do this. I want there to be a moment where he's like, here's the grocery list. Go. And then she's like, okay. And then she's like in the grocery store reading minds to try and like guide her to where she needs to go. And then like someone's like, oh, are you lost, little honey? No, I need to find. And then she like gives these things over here. Those are on aisle 11, right?
But could you push the cart for me?
She's like trying to put things on the conveyor belt, you know?
Like, I just want to say, I also love that we're just in a fictional world. Oh, yeah, sure.
But it very much has the, like, it's not the real world. You know, like, exactly.
Right, Berlin, yeah.
Right, but we're also in the modern era. Like, very much in the modern era. There's no, like, oh, this is 30 years ago. We're, like, basically going, we're just an AU, exact same timeline.
Yep.
Essentially.
Well, actually, no, that's a good point. This might be a while ago. You know how I know?
Oh, boy.
They use fucking newspapers.
That's not true. People still use newspapers today.
Not if they want to blend in.
Good one.
But one of the things I'm very curious to see is how him being a dad affects things when it comes to finding a wife, right? Because if it is something where it's like he actually tries to like find somebody that's like a regular, like a normie, right?
No, that's not happening.
Well, okay, but
that's not happening.
Not happening.
By the end of the next episode, it will be like an actual professional of some kind.
Yeah, probably. But what if it was a professional by accident?
Okay, that's
like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of a thing, you know, like
maybe, yeah. But all right, here we go. Y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.